YouTube, what's going on? It's Terminator, guys, and in this video you're going to watch is a little bit different from the content I normally make. I'm going to be doing a tier list for every weapon as of April 25th, 2024 in Fortnite Chapter 5, Season 2. Now, again, these are just my personal preferences, guys. So don't go like flaming me in the comments or anything. If you are better with certain weapons and others aren't, be prideful of that. Because honestly, the water bending is so busted and I can't use it to save my life. Also, guys, when you get to the end of the video, make sure you do me a couple favors. Make sure you like and comment on the video. Make sure you hit that sub button to help support myself and the channel, and ring the bell to get all the notifications on for my channel, including when I stream. But most importantly, guys, as always, have a great day. Also, guys, before I actually start the video, I just want to take the time to thank Govee. Govee is a light company that is just honestly so much more than a light company. All the lights you see behind me, besides this little Terminator sign, are all Govee lights. These lights are absolutely top tier quality and are just absolutely just amazing upgrades to anyone streaming or just gaming setup. If you visit their website, they have stuff from indoor, outdoor, anything you could really possibly imagine. They have fans and humidifiers. They literally have everything for your gaming and streaming needs. And one of the best things, guys, is you can literally control everything from the app on your phone. You could do something like changing the light colors, or they'll even have scenes where they act out things behind you. Or if you're like me and your community likes to see your rage when you live stream, having on the music option lets the lights react to obviously music around you, but also your voice. So if you're ever interested in upgrading your streaming or gaming setup, make sure you go to the description on the homepage of my YouTube channel, and there's a link there. You use that link, and you also help out myself when you're purchasing some of the products that Govee has to offer. And again, guys, I've had these lights for over 2 years now. I have not had one issue. I have not had not one break. I haven't had anything happen to these things. These are probably the most quality lights you could possibly buy right now. All right, guys, so we're gonna get into the video now, and I kind of made my own little tier list. I apologize if the colors are a little funky and some of the items aren't the same size as each other, but all I'm doing are the actual weapons. I know EMPs do damage, I know clingers do damage, but I just don't care about them. I'm doing the weapons you could physically shoot. Here we go. And I know there's a Star Wars update coming very soon at the beginning of May 3rd to be exact. And I hear there's rumors of Chewbacca and his crossbow gun coming to the game, but we're just going to do this now because if anything, that's just one weapon. And we've all played with the lightsabers before, so we know what to expect when those come back too. So this is really just a tier list at the moment of April 25th, 2024 in Fortnite Chapter 5, Season 2. All right, first, guys, we have the airbending. Now, as we all know, airbending is a mobility item, and you can get kind of a super jump out of it too. As much as I absolutely hate this item, because all everybody does, you shoot them one time and they go, oh boy, I gotta run for my life, and they just dip. And the only thing Epic did not think about when it came to this item is when you're using the actual mobility part, when you're in your little air cycle, is there's no timer on it, and there's no damage thing either. When you get shot enough, you fall out of it, you could literally just run forever. However, though, stating those facts, I'm gonna have to put the airbending on an S tier. Just because, again, you don't get knocked down when you take damage. It's only a 15-second cooldown, and it's unlimited. And I know it's not a weapon, but it's an avatar item, and it's something we haven't seen before, so I wanted to put it in this tier list. Next on the list, guys, we have the firebending mythic. To be completely honest, this mythic, I guess you really just use it kind of like a shotgun. It's only really good up close. I'm going to put it at the C tier, just simply because unless you really catch a bunch of noobs or just players like lacking and not paying attention, you're not really doing anything. The fire, it's kind of annoying to fight against because when you're doing the quick attacks, your guy kind of teleports back and forth, but it's not really doing a lot of damage. The only good damage attack this thing has is when you jump up in the air, you do the slam kick. But again, if you're playing good players, they're not just going to look up at you while you just come down and slam your foot on top of their head. So I'm gonna have to put it at C tier for that. All right, guys, next we have the waterbending mythic. Now, if you're a player like myself, you absolutely despise this thing. Why do I despise it, you ask? It's because it has unlimited ammo. It's a burst weapon that has 30 before you have to do your little spin around thing and get more water around you. And you can just absolutely unload this on people forever. So for me, this is honestly gonna go in the S tier just because it's a thing that also saves you ammo. Like if you just got rebooted and you find one of these things, you don't have to worry about like trying to find downed bodies or a bunch of ammo crates or loot that no one's found in zone, because this thing has unlimited ammo. and you also swim faster in the water with it equipped, and it heals your white health while you're in the water as well. Next, guys, we have the earthbending. Now, the earthbending kind of acts like the ice wall back from chapter 4. You can save yourself from fall damage if you do the blockade, and you can also obviously use it as kind of like a bunker type item where you throw a brick wall in front of you, and it has a good amount of health, so it's not very easy for opponents to break. And it has a recharge time. So there's unlimited amounts you can have. You yourself can only have one use of it at a time, because if you try to put up another wall, it'll just break. And you can obviously shoot them across the map. I think they do up to 85 damage, but it's also a very slow moving attack. So if you get hit by it, you kind of just deserve to take all that damage. So for that, guys, I'm gonna put it in the B tier, simply just because its attack is kind of not the best. It has great defense capabilities, but as a weapon, it's not the best. All right, guys, I know for some reason when the Avatar update came out, Epic kind of just forgot about their theme for the season. They got rid of the wings, the lightning bolt, and the chain of Hades. For whatever reason, we couldn't have all these items in the game at once. So I also included them on this list because the whole theme of this season was like Greek mythology, and they kind of just abandoned that. So first, guys, we're gonna start with the wings. If I had a lower tier, I would put them lower. For some reason, Epic Games thought it'd be absolutely amazing that when you're using these wings and you're flying around, that not only your body can take damage, but the wings that are also on your person also count as damage you're taking when they're getting shot. And now if you take more than 50 damage with these wings equipped while you're flying, you just pummel down to the earth and you're kind of just frozen still for a second before you can really react. So just being completely honest, these items, while they're cool for mobility purposes, I don't know why Epic made the wings part of your hitbox. Your glider is not part of your hitbox when you're flying through the air. So why, if your glider doesn't count, if someone shoots your glider, why do these wings count when you're getting shot out of the air? And the attack they have too is all right. You know, they only have a 300 like health point use. And if you use it for a full flight, it's 100 each. So you can get pretty far with them. The item was probably only really good if you were like rezzing deep in zone and now you had to rotate to try to get back to zone, or if you had to go back for your teammate's reboot card. Other than that, guys, if I had a Z tier, these would be there. All right, guys, next we have Zeus's Thunderbolt. This is a C tier item for me. I know when it first came out, it was able to do damage through structures, but I know that was nerfed. You know, they did a good amount of damage. If you hit someone in the head with this, I'm pretty sure it basically one-shotted you, but the odds of hitting them right in the head with one of your Thunderbolts was something very hard to do, and not many of us could do it. You do get 3 attacks with it, and you have 3 charges, so technically you have 9 uses of this item. But when you're doing it, if you run into a competent player, you're just hovering in the air, just looking at them. So if you run into a decent player that has half a brain and half an aim, you're probably gonna die before you even get the second bullet off. All right, next, guys, we have the Chain of Hades. And if I'm being completely honest, out of all the mythic items that were Greek themed this season, I'm putting this at a B tier. I know right before it was taken out of the game permanently for whatever reason, they actually buffed it to where it did more damage. It had a slam attack. It had, obviously, you know, the whipping attack, which was its quick attack. And it had the ability to also grab loot and players. So I saw on several social medias, people were doing crazy trick shots with this, where they would shockwave through the air. They would latch onto their enemy, throw them up in the air, and then snipe them for cool trick shots. But unfortunately, the Chains of Hades wasn't even in the game to start this new season. We only had it for about a few weeks before Epic just decided to get rid of it. All right, guys, next we have the Thunderburst SMG. Honestly, the best SMG of the 3 that are in here, with the TAC AR that just got re-released this week, and the Harbinger SMG. This thing, honestly, I think is also even better than the mythic that Hades has. If you put a laser attachment on this thing, its reticle shrinks down to 0. So your hip fire with this thing is just absolutely unreal, and it's just a top tier gun. If you have the quick reload on this thing too, you could just keep firing for days. And honestly, if you're somebody who has good hip fire or just good aim in general, you are frying your opponents with this. All right, next, guys, we have the Harbinger SMG. If I'm being honest, I don't know how I feel about this weapon. I feel like sometimes it has no recoil and it's really good, and then other times I shoot one bullet and my gun's pointing in the air. I think for that reason, I'm gonna put it in the B tier. I don't think it's quite worse than the Firebending or the Zeus, or just as equal to them. I think it's a little better. With the right attachments, it could be a very good weapon, but if I'm being honest, I'm picking up a Thunderburst over this every single time, so I just have to put it at a tier below. All right, guys, next, like I said, they just reintroduced their own version of the TAC AR, and as we all know, whenever Epic puts in an old weapon, for some reason, they have to change it and tweak it. They did no justice with this weapon. I'm gonna have to put it at a B tier. Again, I don't think it's as bad as the Firebending and the Zeus Lightning Bolt, but if I'm being completely honest, this weapon, it's a letdown. It's supposed to be a distance SMG, but the damage is just nothing. There's such a bad fall off in damage when you get a certain amount of meters away. Up close, it can do 23 body shots and up to, I think, almost a 30 headshot, which is great. But if you're not up close and personal with an enemy, this thing can do sometimes 13 damage to a body. That can take over 4 shots just to break their overshield and zero builds. And if I'm being completely honest, guys, the Warforged Assault Rifle is the same thing with the same fire rate, but it has better distance damage and is just better overall. Forgot to put the hand cannon in here. Without further ado, we have the hand cannon. The hand cannon was teased at the beginning of this season in the trailer for the new Chapter 5 Season 2 season. And if you're like me and you play this game and you're catching on to Epic and Fortnite's little theme, every time they bring back an old weapon and they change it for the newer Fortnite, it's terrible. If I'm being completely honest, I'm going to put the hand cannon at a C tier. I don't really pick up this weapon unless I have absolutely nothing else left. If you put a sight on this thing and you shoot it, the recoil has you looking up in the sky before you can even come down to look. I've had issues where I pull this weapon out and there's sort of a delay before you can shoot it, and I'm just sitting there pulling my R2 trigger as much as I can, and sometimes it just doesn't shoot. So I don't know if there's a bug with the item that they haven't addressed. If I'm being completely honest, it does high damage, and it has great hip fire ability. So if you hip fire somebody with that, then pull out your shotgun real quick, you can absolutely wipe squads instantly, but I just can't seem to get a hang of this weapon. So I'm putting it at a C tier. All right, guys, next we have the Reaper Sniper Rifle. I don't think I can say more about it. Obviously, one-shot capabilities. If you have Ares Medallion, it can do more body shot and headshot damage. The only weapon that has the capability to one-shot an opponent. You can hit crazy clips and trick shots with it. No matter how annoying Epic is with nerfing the weapon a million times, where they make it better, they make it worse, they increase the bullet speed, they drop it, they increase the bullet drop, they fix it. It's just, they've changed the sniper so many times to the point where I just believe they should take it out and just bring back hit scan ARs. But while it's in the game, if you find one, it literally changes the tide of any kind of fight you get in, so it has to be an S tier weapon for me. All right, guys, next we have the Hunter's DMR, and now if I'm being completely honest, after the changes they've made to the Reaper Sniper Rifle, I found myself carrying this more than I ever thought I would a DMR, because if you've been playing Fortnite for the last few years, Epic is just really weird of trying to force a DMR to us every single season. And besides this one, which is all right, the Cobra DMR was the only ever good DMR we actually had. I don't know why they keep trying to force feed us one DMR every season instead of introducing a new type of a weapon. If I'm being completely honest, it's not great, it's not bad. Its advantages, you can put a sniper scope on it and it's decently accurate from long range, and it chunks damage. You can hit people up to a 70 like body shot and over 100 headshot. So if you catch someone not paying attention, it's a pretty good weapon. So if I'm being completely honest and not biased, I'm gonna have to put it at a B, just because I had a clip the other day where it was a 4v2 and I was able to hit 2 different players in the head. My teammate was able to wipe up the kills because I took away all their health. So it's not a terrible weapon, but it just shouldn't replace an AR in your inventory. All right, guys, next we have one of the best weapons of the season, the Warforged Assault Rifle. And now, if you're like me and you're wondering why every season we can't have just a bunch of ARs to use, why we only have a few, nothing against the Nemesis. I still think the Nemesis is really good. I think just simply why the Warforged goes in the S tier is because of its bullet speed, commonality, how easy it is to find around the map. Again, I think it's just a bullet speed that kills this thing. My food's ready, I'm fat, I'll be right back. All right, so as I was saying, if you're like me and you've also noticed a common theme, for some reason with Fortnite, we can't have 2 dominant ARs in the game at the same time. Back in Chapter 4 Season 1, we had the Red Eye. Obviously, it was a hit scan, and it came with a scope on it before weapon attachments were ever even thought of in Fortnite. So this was the dominant weapon. In Chapter 4 Season 2, we still had the Red Eye, but then Fortnite brought back the MK as an updated weapon, which is probably one of the few weapons they've never messed up when they re-brought it back into the game. It came with a red dot on it, and for some reason, we couldn't have it at the same time as the red eye. So when this MK got brought back, the red eye went. And then in chapter 4, season 3, it was the MK pretty much all season. And then in chapter 4, season 4, we got the much loved and overpowered twin mag. But again, it came with a red dot on it. And for some reason, we can't have more than one red dot weapon at the same time. So the MK made room for the twin mag. I don't know why Epic and Fortnite always decide to make the decision. I think sometimes what happens to people when they play this game is it gets boring because there's a clear weapon meta, even though the damage is the same. And it's not like Call of Duty where you can change the barrels and the lasers and the stocks and you can make it stronger or faster or whatever it is. Obviously, attachments have a little bit to do with the weapons and what you like, but for some reason, Epic just doesn't give us a large loot pool, and it kind of gets boring when you play this game every single day. All right, guys, next we got the Nemesis AR, and if I'm being completely honest, I'm putting it at an A tier. You might not agree with me. I still think this AR is very viable. Now, don't get me wrong. If I find a Warforged assault rifle and I have the opportunity to upgrade it, I'm going to pick it every time. But the Nemesis does great damage. The hip fire on the Nemesis without the laser attachment is absolutely amazing. The reticle is very small on it, and it just does so much damage. It's still just a very good weapon, and a lot of us are used to it too from Chapter 5, Season 1, and they even buffed it a little bit to make it a little bit better to keep up with the Warforged assault rifle. All right, guys, now we're on to the last three. We have our shotguns. First, we have the hammer pump. If I had an F or a Z tier, it'd be there. This gun, for whatever reason, is the most inconsistent shotgun I think Fortnite has ever put into it. And if you're like me and you miss the OG, like Chapter 1, Season 1 pump shotgun, I'm just done with them trying to put pump shotguns in the game that aren't the same thing. Now, I like when they put the spaz back into the game like they did in Chapter 4, or even I think the last pump shotgun we actually had that was decent was the Havoc. But if I'm being completely honest, guys, it just sucks. Sometimes you hit somebody for a 9 headshot. Sometimes you hit them for 150. It is the most inconsistent shotgun I think Fortnite has ever introduced to their game. All right, guys, now we have the Frenzy Auto. And now, if I made a tier list for Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 1, this Frenzy Auto would be S tier and it wouldn't even be close. But I think Epic knew everybody was tired of this thing, but they needed to keep it because they didn't have another idea for another shotgun, or for some reason they just don't ever want to bring back older shotguns. This thing is kind of trash in Season 2. I'm going to put it at a C tier. I don't think it's completely useless, but the damage on it now is just irrelevant. With a gray one last season, you used to be able to 4-shot somebody if you hit them in the head for 2 or 3 of the shots, but now sometimes you have a gold version of these things, and unless you're hitting like the bullet spread straight in the center of their forehead, you're really not doing any damage with it. The only plus is you could still have the 12-round mag on this thing. So it's not completely useless, but if I'm being honest, guys, I'd rather have a gray Gatekeeper with no attachments on it than most of the auto shotguns I find on the floor. All right, guys. And now we have our last weapon, the Gatekeeper shotgun. The Gatekeeper shotgun, guys, is an obvious S tier weapon. It is everybody's favorite shotgun to use right now. There's a mythic version of it, and now you can't upgrade it. It only comes with 3 bullets, which is the one downside of this weapon, is that most of them come with 3 bullets in the chamber instead of the 5 drum mag. It's still so strong. Gray ones can still 3-shot a fully 250 HP 0 build opponent. As long as you hit your shots, you can chunk players from distance with this thing. This is probably one of my favorite shotguns they ever put into this game. Just because of how easy it is to use. Its hip fire feels very smooth and accurate. Its aim down feels very smooth, strong, and accurate. Overall, it's just a great shotgun. All right, guys, somehow I forgot to put the Ranger pistol on my tier list. I'm going to put it at the B tier. This weapon is very good from close range, not absolutely terrible from distance. It has 15 bullets in a default mag. It can do 15 to 20 damage depending if it's a body shot or a headshot. We're very used to pistols being in Fortnite, and it was also in last season, so it's a weapon we're also used to using. So I think it's a very reliable weapon, and to be completely honest, I might pick it over almost every other item I have in my B tier list. Now, I didn't put the medallions on here. I know the medallions this season have a better effect than last season because the medallions from Chapter 5 Season 1 only healed you, and Epic Games severely nerfed that after one could get you 100 HP. But if I had to just quickly go over the medallions, the Grim Medallion, where you fight Cerberus, would be an easy S tier. Hades, I would have to put at an A tier, just because it's only really a benefit if you can get full elims in a game. The Zeus Medallion, I'm stuck between a B and a C. It gives you increased jump and increased sprint speed, but if you've played the game enough and you've noticed that there's kind of a bug with the Zeus Medallion, and sometimes when you do the increased jump off a cliff, it's supposed to save you from fall damage. Sometimes it just doesn't work and you die to fall damage. I've had it happen way too many times this season to the point where I don't even carry the medallion. So honestly, I'm putting it at a C tier because it also just kind of eats up your stamina much quicker than just running around sprinting does. And honestly, the Ares medallion is also kind of just useless. His mythic is absolutely insane with the mythic Warforged assault rifle, but I'd also probably have to put Ares in this tier. It makes your distance shots stronger. It's not like a crazy noticeable difference to the point where it's like, oh, I have to land there and I have to get that medallion. All right, guys, there's my tier list for Chapter 5, Season 2 as of April 25th, 2024.